It's very rare that I encounter people who genuinely inspire me to want to be a better version of myself. That expression alone is so overused it feels trite and almost always comes off as disingenuous. However, when it comes to Ryan Coogler, I mean it in the sincerest way possible. The man makes me want to be a better version of myself. At 38 years old, Coogler has released his fifth feature film, a cinematic masterpiece that was rated 100% on Rotten Tomatoes at the time I wrote this, ahead of its April 18 release, and is expected to be yet another blockbuster. I went to an early screening and well, it's good. The movie, which is billed as a horror film, but I think is part comedy and part action as well, follows the story of Smoke and Stack, twin brothers from Clarksdale, Mississippi who return to their hometown after having traveled to Chicago. They try to open up a juke joint but are faced with unexpected evils. It has great acting, deep symbolism, a double dose of Michael B. Jordan, Swoon, and the talents of Haley Steinfeld, Wunmi Mosaku, James Lawson, Delroy Lindo, and more. Sinners truly deserves every bit of the praise it's gotten. But the real star, to me, is Coogler, who comes across as an artist who's fully realized at somewhat of a young age. I know his repertoire, which includes Creed and Black Panther, is already astounding, but I truly believe Sinners is Ryan Coogler's magnum opus. From the time he came on the scene with Fruitvale Station back in 2013, Coogler seemed like he was a shy and reserved guy. He do press for his films, and we hear him talk about all the stories that inspired him and the work that went into creating each movie, but for the most part, he let his actors do the talking. This press run for Sinners has felt wildly different. He stepped more and more into the spotlight, and people on the internet, myself included, have noticed. I first took notice of Ryan Coogler's current era when he visited the Breakfast Club on April 7. I wasn't expecting much, not because I thought he's the type to just give a fluff interview, but because often, people who are as private as he is don't open up much or answer the questions that the masses really want to know. I went in thinking it would be something pleasantly distracting to play in the background as I made my lunch and wouldn't ever really think about again. I was so wrong. The interview was so insightful, showcasing Coogler's depth, integrity, the memories and people he holds dearest, and the things that move him as a filmmaker. He talked about the genesis of the film. It was inspired by his late uncle who introduced him to blues music. He spoke about parts of his upbringing and some of his family dynamics, and he got emotional speaking about the late Chadwick Boseman and what that relationship taught him and Michael B. Jordan. Even more poignant for me was when he opened up about how the late Nipsey Hussle's first and final album Victory Lap served as a healing tool for him and his wife of 9 years, Cindy Coogler, née Evans, when they were going through a rough patch in their marriage several years ago. Me and my wife was going through a tough time when we released Black Panther 1, he said. It was really an odd experience because from the outside looking in, we was on top of the world, right? And we was to a certain extent, but personally we was going through sums. It was a revelation that's rare for Coogler. The two have been together since they were in college, with 2 kids and another on the way. And while she's always by his side, he rarely gives that much of a window into their personal lives. In the 50 minutes he did with the Breakfast Club, he went from being this mythical, magical figure who creates these transcendent movies to a very familiar voice who engages with the same things I do. That Nipsey Hussle album, in particular, was on constant rotation for me when I first moved to LA in 2022. And while I tie it to happier memories, Victory Lap symbolizes a specific time in my life, as it does for Coogler. I walked away feeling like I knew the director. It all came to a head when the Sinners official Instagram page dropped a video in which he was explaining different types of formats the movie was shot in. First of all, it's very rare for me, and I'm sure many more people, to sit and watch a 10-minute video about anything. And while I couldn't tell you what a perforation really is, I know I'll be going to watch the film again at the Vista Theater in LA because Ryan Coogler said it'll be on 70mm film at a 5 perf projection, and that's a rare way to watch a film.